All right, section 3.7 is point slope form. So we're going to actually kind of go way off script here for this section. If you know how to use point slope, or if you've read the lesson and it makes sense to you, you absolutely can use point slope form anytime you're given a point and a slope. So that makes sense. Point slope form is used when you're given a point and a slope. However, we are going to completely ignore point slope form, at least in this video. And I'm going to show you a different way how to graph a line given a point and a slope, and it is just still using the old reliable slope intercept form. So we're going to still use y equals mx plus b in this section. So let's look at example 1. And again, we're doing this to both find the equation of a line and to help us graph the line. So I'm going to write out y equals mx plus b, just so I have it as a reference in this problem. And remember, we need two things to write an equation in slope-intercept. We need the slope and we need the y-intercept. Well, in this problem, we already know what the slope is. So we know our m value for this particular question. So we have found our slope. So I'm going to mark that off the list. But now we need to find our y-intercept, which is usually the part we've got to do the most work for. So now we're going to take the given ordered pair in this problem. So like we said, they give us a point and a slope in most of these questions. So they give us an xy point. So what we can do is we can substitute 4 in for x in this problem, because that is our x coordinate. Where xy represents all the xy coordinates that fall on this particular line. And then we can substitute -7 for our y variable. And now we've got a pretty simple equation with just a single variable b in it. So -2 times 4 is -8. Add 8 to both sides to solve for b. -7 plus 8, b equals 1. So now we can go back and write the actual equation of this line. Remember, our goal was to write an equation in slope-intercept form, and we needed two things, we said. We need the slope, which we already found was -2, and we need the y-intercept, which we now have found to be +1. So this is the equation of the line, and we can always check it real quick. So if 4 -7 goes through this line, that means if we substitute 4 for x, we should get -7 for y. We can do some quick arithmetic to see we're going to get -7, and that checks out. And real quickly to graph this one, we would start at 0, 1, the starting point. The slope is down 2, right 1. So there is our equation, and there is the line. And now I've gone ahead and gone down to 2, right 1, until I get to the point 4, -7. You don't have to do that. I just wanted to show you that graphically this line would go through that point eventually anyway. Pause the video. I'm going to show you the answer to the return here in just a couple of seconds. So there's our answer. The slope was already given to us, so that part was pretty simple. And you can see the algebra that was created to find the y-intercept in this problem of +2. One other type of problem you might see is find the equation of a line given 2 points. So the only difference between this and the previous two problems is we do not know the slope. So we don't know the slope, but we can find it if they give us 2 points on the line, which they obviously do. So if they give you 2 points, you can use the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So there's the work to find the slope, and we get -4/9. So that's half of what we need to write an equation of this line. So now what you need to do is we need to find b, so you need to substitute something for x. So it does not matter which xy coordinate you pick to substitute back into the original problem. I typically try to lean toward the positive numbers, but again, it really doesn't matter. You can make a case for this other one because 2 is typically easier to deal with than 7. All right, so I'm going to substitute 7(1) back in for x and y and solve for b. So quick little review with fractions. When you multiply a whole number times a fraction, you put it over 1, and you multiply the tops, and we would get -28/9. Multiply the tops, and you multiply the bottoms there. And then to solve for b, we're going to add 28/9 to both sides. So you need to add 1 over 1 to 28/9. Here you need a common denominator, which would be 9. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So we get 9 plus 28 over the common denominator, and that's going to be our b value, which in this case simplifies to 37/9. So there's our b value. We've already got our slope. So then the equation for this problem is -4/9 x plus 37/9. The arithmetic, a little trickier there, but overall the algebra, no different. Try the last year turn. I'll show the answer in just a couple of seconds. So I got just 1 for the slope. And there's the algebra. However, if you were kind of paying attention here, our slope was 1, but you'll notice the point, one of the points they give us, this is already the y-intercept. So doing this work right here is kind of redundant because you're going to end up getting the y-intercept for the problem anyway here. Typically that won't happen, but every once in a while it might, so just pay attention and you might see that. Pause the video and try your turn number 2. So if you forgot how to write an equation of a vertical line, we don't do this like we're going to do the other problems because we know vertical lines have special properties in regards to slope. But it might be helpful to graph the point 2, -5 and just sketch a vertical line real quick. And then pick any other point on that vertical line. It really does not matter. So I'm going to pick this point in pink, which would be 2, -4. So we have 2, -4, and we have 2, 5. And we see pretty quickly when we graph a couple of points that every coordinate on that vertical line is going to have something in common, and it is the x coordinate. So a vertical line is always just an equation x equals, and in this case it's x equals 2 because that's the x coordinate. So you don't have to graph this one, but it would be helpful because it's easy to mix up if it's x equals or y equals. Remember, horizontal lines have an equation that is y equals.